Yep.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Let's Talk CFL podcast, episode number 609. I'm your host, Christopher Jones, coming to you live from Merritt, British Columbia, and we're going to talk some football tonight, and that's Canadian football, CFL. And that's what we do every Wednesday night for an hour, hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, depending on how much fun we're having. And, I'll introduce the panel to you. I've got Charles Cliff from Abbotsford, British Columbia. Charles, how are you?
I'm doing good. Coming to you live from the Let's Talk CFL studios in downtown Vancouver. No, I'm not. It's just a fake background, but it's kind of cool.
I wouldn't have told anybody it was a fake background. They would have thought that, like, you're cool.
Yep. Well, someone's bound to think that eventually.
There you go. Yeah. Also from Abbotsford, British Columbia, but a Winnipeg Blue Bomber fan, we have Rick MacDonald. Is that better for you, Rick? Or for Will?
Perfect,
Okay.
buddy.
Okay. I'll enunciate the Mac better than a Mick. I'll do a MacDonald. Rick, welcome to the show, buddy. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing really well. Happy to be back again.
Okay. And over in the other square, the last square, do we feel like Hollywood Squares with Paul Lynn and
I was going to say the same thing. Hollywood Squares.
Hollywood Squares there. We got
Or the opening
Rick's
credits
brother
of the Brady
Will,
Bunch.
and he's coming to us from Calgary, Alberta, and he is a Calgary Stampeders fan. William, welcome to the show, buddy. How you doing?
Yes, I am good. I'm really, really angry at you and Charles today.
Why?
Why?
And I'm never going to listen to BC Lions fans again, because I would be perfect in my record for the whole season right now if I hadn't listened to you guys last week. I actually thought
You
BC
didn't listen to us. In fact,
give
I
me the
told
trust
you
on their
not to
own.
choose BC because every time you pick BC, they lose. So I told you not to pick BC Lions, and you did anyhow.
But
This is on you, brother.
That's your fault.
In reality, and just bear with me, guys, I picked BC occasionally. They've lost.
I know, and they lose.
They've lost a lot more than I've picked them. So I'm just not saying anything. We'll just leave it at that. But
that's not the point. The point is every time you pick them, they lose.
He's not wrong.
Charles picks them all the time. They don't lose all the time.
Well, you don't have to worry, because this year I'm only going to pick them when they play Edmonton and Ottawa. Well, that's it.
Okay, well, that's good. Please, I don't even want you to pick them when they play in Ottawa, because God knows the Red Blacks might actually upset them.
Never know.
We don't want that to happen. That would be scary. Okay, so we're going to talk some football now. And we've got an agenda. We're going to talk about the last games that we've played. I'll go over to the Sparky thing. No. Okay, Sparky's.
No.
It's okay. That's a song, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so the first game last week was what we were just discussing, the BC Winnipeg game in Winnipeg. This was a, how to put it, big hype, BC Lions, undefeated, Winnipeg coming off a bye, their quarterback was suspended. There was a lot of reasons why we could pick BC in a strong fashion, and they've shit the bed, because I got no other way to describe it. I don't understand what the hell happened. I do understand what happens. BC cannot run the ball. BC cannot stop the run. Plain and simple, if you want to beat Winnipeg, you have to run the ball and run the ball nonstop. And they didn't do that. What was there, like 10 carries? Half of them were the quarterback. It was actually, I think there were 16 carries. But like Nathan Rourke had half the carries. It's ridiculous. You can't do that. You absolutely cannot do that against Winnipeg. You want to beat their defensive line, just tees up, goes after the quarterback. You have to make them respect the run so that they'll hold up and their pass rush is not coming down your throat nonstop. That's the only way to beat Winnipeg. You would think that Buck Pierce knew this. You would think.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it didn't happen. And I'm going to let Rick do this game. You talk about your Winnipeg Blue Bombers and how wonderful and awesome they were. Because they lost Brady Oliveira for might be a long term. It's not week to week right now. It's indefinite. What do you got, Rick?
Well, first of all, I'm kicking myself in the ass for being an idiot and not picking the Bombers. I should have stuck with my team, went with my brain instead of where my heart is, and I'll publicly apologize to Chris Strevler here. Maybe he can quarterback.
No, he can't.
He played a pretty darn good game, if you ask me. You know,
Well,
it's just
sure.
We alluded to this before we went live, Christopher and I, that Rourke just seems snake bit by the Bombers. It's like he can't perform, him and his team, when he meets the Bombers. Not in his first year, not last year. It's just like they got the number, or I don't know. They have pictures of him having sex with farm animals, so he throws the game. I don't know what it is.
That's a Will line.
You know what?
We are kind of related.
Runs in the family.
I'm not gonna blame Nathan Rourke for any of this. Well, a little bit, but not much.
I was going to get there too, Will, saying that he
Okay.
really didn't have a lot of support. He can't do it all
No,
himself.
he didn't.
The team as a whole was kind of stinky.
Because Christopher Jones has been telling me for years and years and years that Bo Levi Mitchell is not a good quarterback. He's a quarterback on a good football team. Well, Nathan Rourke doesn't play on a good football team right now. So I guess we can't blame him for being a shitty quarterback.
I don't think he's a shitty quarterback. I don't think he actually played.
He was one of their better performers in the game, actually. But
yeah,
Yep.
So
it was an off game for him, and he still passed for 249 yards.
Yeah, don't
an off game.
Don't throw stats at us, Charles. Okay,
Well, I'm
don't
just
throw stats at us.
you know where we'll go with the stats.
There's one stat that means anything, Charles.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
I was just pointing it out.
And you got the L, Will. Will got the L.
Yeah, because I
You
picked BC,
lost.
which I never will again.
So did I.
Please don't
We
take
all did.
BC
All
again,
four of us
even
did.
against Ottawa. Okay. So anyhow, Brady Oliveira was injured. His backup, what's his name? Peterson?
Yep.
Came in and destroyed the Lions.
Looked pretty
Was
good.
150 yards for the game. It was just
130.
there was no. You would think that Buck Pierce could have game planned better. He didn't.
Well,
that loss is on him.
you know, every time last year is just a viewer or a listener of this program, every time I heard that out of somebody's mouth, that, you know, having coached football for many years myself, you can have the perfect plan, but if your players don't execute your plan, it looks like you have no plan.
Right, but then you're not a very good coach if you can't get your players to execute, right? And we're talking about professional players here, not little kids in high school.
Doesn't matter. They're just people, and they don't always rise to the occasion. So
then they shouldn't be on the team. These guys have the ability to get rid of players that can't perform at what they're supposed to do. You can't do that when you're in high school.
Well, yeah, actually you can. You sit them on the bench and you don't let them play.
Yeah. But I don't think that happens in this modern era. Everybody gets to play because everybody gets the participation ribbon.
Not on any of my teams. You earn your spot, plain and simple.
Okay, so
maybe that's why I'm not coaching anymore, but as you know, as far as running back
Nathan
goes,
Rourke hurt his ankle in the first quarter. It restricted his mobility in the pocket, and he couldn't get away to make plays. And what did he have? One first down at halftime or something? It was ridiculous. 10 yards.
But I would say to you, Nathan Rourke has to learn when to run because he got beat up big time.
He couldn't run. He had an ankle injury.
Well, yeah, but he was running before he got the ankle injury while he was running.
that's likely where the ankle injury came from.
So
anyhow, the game was it's over.
yes,
BC Lions 20, Winnipeg Blue Bombers 34. That's only 14 points, Rick. You kept telling me that this game was out of reach. There's no way that BC, couple of bad plays and BC couldn't have won this game. We talked about this before the game, the show started, and absolutely 14 points in the CFL is nothing. No lead is safe, brother.
that's
Okay.
true.
Anyhow,
None is safe, but that game was never in doubt.
and that's what I said to you.
Mm-hmm.
You said Hamilton could have beat Calgary, Hamilton could have beat Saskatchewan. BC could have beat Winnipeg. All they needed to do was a punt return for touchdown.
I'm just wondering if Zach Collaros had been in that game, if it would have been a 60 burger. Just saying.
Or would have been in the other way around. Or a loss. Exactly. We'll know this week.
We'll get to see Zach on Saturday. Yeah.
Because he hasn't played a game yet.
My favorite part about that whole game was how Chris Streveler, almost every pass was a sidearm. Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, come on. And I want to go back to what you said earlier, Rick. You said that Chris Streveler might actually be a quarterback.
No, he's not.
He had one extremely good game, and it was a good game. He did play well in that game. Okay. I'm not taking anything away from Streveler. He played a good game of football. Cody Fajardo played one good game of football in the Grey Cup, okay? That's the only game in his entire career he played that was good. This may be Chris Streveler's only game that he played well.
Could be. And just on the Cody part, that win in that Grey Cup was not Cody's. It was Mr. Phil Potts.
Defense.
Shittiest ball I ever saw thrown that the kid catches for a touchdown.
He literally just
but he did play that. That was the best game of his career.
Backwards.
Yeah. Anyway, Strev,
okay.
I give him more props than I have before.
Okay, so total point score was 54. Okay. Who picks 54 every week? Anybody know?
You do.
Oh, nailed it. Okay, so we all picked BC to win, so none of us got the 100-point bonus. Yeah. Okay, Charles got 32 points. Will got 30. CJ got the big 50. Rick got 34, and Sparky down there with 22. Okay. Second game was Montreal and into Ottawa to play the Red Blacks. This is one of those games that just wasn't even close. Okay. I'm surprised that the 18 points that Ottawa got was made them look good. It was not a good game for the Red Blacks. Matthew Schlitz was the quarterback. Drew Brown is injured. And I understand right now coming up that Schlitz is being benched. And who's the other guy? Dustin Crum is getting first team reps. So they're changing up their QB situation. Drew Brown is still not ready to play. This was Montreal into Ottawa. William, did you watch the game?
I watched the whole game.
Okay, then you're going to talk about it.
Okay. You know what? I didn't think Ottawa was that bad. Okay. I thought their defense came to play. But I thought they were comparable to Montreal's defense, to be honest with you. But their offense was kind of terrible. So, because their starting quarterback wasn't there. I mean, their offense scored 15 points in the third quarter, and they held Montreal to 7. I thought something was happening there, but then the fourth quarter, Montreal scored 13 points, period. So, and Ottawa scored nothing. So there was some good parts for Ottawa. They are now 0-2. Not a good start, but hey, Winnipeg was 0-5 last year. You never know. Maybe when Drew Brown comes back, they'll be better. I don't think
they weren't 0-4. 5. They were 0-4.
Or 0-4, whatever.
Because the only team that's come back from 0-5 is the Lions in 2011.
I mean, Ottawa does have a chance this weekend against Calgary because we're supposed to get 66 centimeters of rain apparently in Saturday afternoon. So
not centimeters, millimeters,
whatever, Saturday afternoon. So that's a lot of rain here. Okay, so
66 centimeters is a lot of rain. Okay, it's about 2 feet.
Yeah,
that'd be a flood.
It will be a flood. You wait and see. So, but anyways, yeah, Ottawa is Ottawa. Like you said, I think they need a coaching change already, but that's not going to happen for at least 5 or 6 weeks. If it does happen, we shall see.
Coaching change isn't going to help them.
No,
because who's in the wings?
Your buddy,
Rick Campbell.
Rick Campbell. But
hey, which is
going back to Ottawa's glory days.
Well, I hope Ottawa does improve because remember we've always had problems with attendance there. So they went away a couple of times. So
yeah.
There, it's a fickle crowd in Ottawa. Same in Montreal. Montreal has phenomenal support when they're winning, but when they're losing, they walk away in droves.
Yep. Yes, indeedy. But hey,
okay. Anybody want to add anything else to this game? Davis Alexander played another good game of football.
Yeah,
he's
looking like he's for real.
Yeah, he really did. But 6 for 6 on the field goals for Montreal, so that's 6 drives they couldn't complete.
Yeah,
and once again, it's a good team. It's a good team. So
it is, and Ottawa. I mean, come on, 2 tries from the one with their second string quarterback for the touchdown, and they got denied two attempts in a row.
What have you got? BC's short yard?
That sounds like a BC team.
That's awful. You need to pack your bag and go home if you can't get a yard with 2 tries.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's bad.
Agreed. So this was Montreal 39, Ottawa 18. Total point scores 57. Everybody got 100 points on this one because we all picked Montreal. Nobody's stupid enough to pick Ottawa. Even Sparky didn't pick Ottawa.
And he thinks they're great.
Stupid? Come on.
I didn't say anything. I didn't say Sparky was stupid, but he does. He has been picking Hamilton lately.
No, that's me.
And that's Rick too. Rick this game, but Sparky picked them the week before.
So did I.
Okay. So Charles got 20 points, Will got 24, CJ got 36, Rick with 28, and Sparky, he's consistent. He got another 22. Okay. The third game of the week, whoa, don't go away, was the Calgary Stampeders, went into the TO to play the Argonauts. Now, we still had Nick Arbuckle as the starting quarterback in Toronto because Dum Dum is still injured, and he's taking light reps, but still not ready to play. So he won't be coming up this week, and he certainly wasn't there last week. And Nick Arbuckle showed why he is not starting for any other team, because he is not a starter. He did MVP in the Grey Cup last year. How is that possible? And then come out here and play football the way that he does.
One game. That's all that matters, right?
He had one
Cody
good
Fajardo
game.
syndrome. Just
Cody
needed to play one good game.
Chris Trevler, Marcus Crandall. They all had one game.
One game.
And they look good.
Yeah.
So
this was a little closer than I thought it was going to be, but hey, whatever. Who wants to talk Will, you want to do Calgary again?
Yeah. You know what? I was impressed at, because I saw Christopher Jones all over the place saying, well, Calgary won because that Toronto's not a very good team. And I'm not going to disagree with you. But Calgary worked some things out during the game. All right. That's all I'll say is they lost Reggie Begelton in the first quarter.
They did.
All right. He's their number one receiver. Broke his leg, apparently. I heard a report today it's a broken leg. So
yeah, he's gone for the season.
Broken leg can heal. He might be back by the playoffs. You never know, depending on what part of it broke. Then they lost 3 plays after that. They lost Bryce Bell, their center. Okay. And they put in a rookie center. And shortly after that, they lost their long snapper. And they didn't have a second long snapper. And so the long snapper played, but he'd limp onto the field when it was time to snap the ball. It was pretty scary looking. Anyways, you know what? Vernon Adams didn't throw an interception. He worked it out. He threw the ball away a couple of times. Their defense, I thought, played quite well because they did not have any sacks in the first game against Hamilton. They had, I think, 2 or 3 in this game. They had a pick 6, which was ideal because the defensive backfield, if you ask Steven Sparksman, he'll tell you their defensive backfield is horrible, but he always says that. And you know what? They just worked things out. Jaden Philpott had a great game. He had 2 really long catches, which I was impressed with. He was starting to look more and more like his brother. And they ran the ball. They shut down the run.
Twins. They look alike.
Yeah, Alfred had a couple of good catches. He was the first round pick this year. And so Calgary just worked it out, and next man up, and they won the game, which is all that matters. And I think Dominic Rhymes took over for Reggie Beggleton because he had some key catches through the whole game.
Yep.
And he's a better receiver than I ever thought he was. So,
no, he's a very good receiver.
You know, what can I say other than Calgary just worked it out? And they talk about playing one game at a time, and that's all they care about, and just getting better throughout the year. And with all the changes they've had, they're 2-0. What more do you want? So go ahead, guys.
Play a real team.
Pretty boring first half. But you're
12-8
right.
at halftime.
Calgary worked it out and put points on the board in the second half.
9-3 in the first half.
Yeah, I think.
So 12-8 after 3 quarters.
Yeah, I think Vernon had a good game.
And my definition of Vernon having a good game is he doesn't throw any picks.
Yeah.
And he makes proper decisions, and he uses his wheels at the right time.
100% agree.
Because that makes a huge difference when he uses his running ability at the right time.
54 yards rushing.
That is what he needs to do, but he's not a strong decision maker. He makes poor choices at bad times.
I would agree with that. I would agree.
That's why
I am a Vernon Adams fan. I do like him. I like him as an individual. I like him as a football player. I like him as a quarterback. Okay. I never had a problem with him in BC. I was sad to see him leave. But that being said, Vernon Adams always has this thing about making bad decisions at inopportune times.
Well,
and they're called interceptions.
Every time
he's good at it.
Every time they interview Dave Dickinson about Vernon Adams, they talk about them working on Vernon's decision making. So maybe it'll work itself out.
Maybe there's hope.
Maybe.
I have to believe that Dave Dickinson is a better quarterback coach than Rick Campbell.
I would assume.
You think?
So I hope that if anybody can help Vernon Adams get better, it would be Dave. Does Dave have the ability to make the entire Calgary Stampeders team better? That's the question that I keep asking.
Well, do you know what? Do you know what the Stampeders equaled on last Saturday from a year ago? They tied their wins on the road record on Saturday. They now have 1 win on the road.
They won
last year. None. 0. Okay? That's an improvement.
Yeah.
It's an improvement.
I don't care how many interceptions Vernon Adams throws. Jake Mayer is a distant memory now.
Well, it doesn't matter how many interceptions he throws as long as they win the game.
They win the game.
It's all about the W. The rest of the stats don't matter.
If they start to lose, then those interceptions might stick out a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely.
A little bit. Yeah.
But if you remember correctly, last year when Vernon Adams was on his run, there was that Toronto game where he threw 6.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. That was scary, and he was winning at that point in time. So,
yeah, that game, and that's 100% on the coach. 100%.
Not knowing when to take the quarterback out.
Pull the quarterback. Don't let him sit in there and suffer.
Or just looking at him and say, "Don't throw the ball for the rest of the game." Okay.
Yeah.
Well, call a different play.
Anyways.
Okay. This was Calgary Stampeders 29, the Toronto Argonauts 19. Total score 48 points. Everybody picked Calgary to win, so we all got the 100 points. Charles got 34. Will nailed this one. 50 points, buddy. You nailed it. CJ had 30. Rick up there at 38. And Sparky at 40. He was off by 1. It was a good game for everybody. Lowest additional score was 30 points. That was mine. And that's pretty good when we're that close. Straight across the board. I'm impressed. Okay, the final game was Saskatchewan Roughriders went into Hamilton in the ex-Timbit box, which the stadium now has no name. And they're still talking about the mystery, who is going to be the naming. Nobody seems to want to pay up to name the field. I don't know why Timmy's left. But anyhow, play the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And one day we're going to have to do a show on the Tiger Cats because I don't understand how this team can be so bad for so long and nothing changes. There's no promise this year. There's no promise for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. I don't see them getting any better. But I took the mystery out of who won this game. Charles, do you want to talk about Saskatchewan and Hamilton?
Well, it was an interesting game on Saturday at Chico Bail-Bond Stadium. The I don't know, the Hamilton just doesn't look. They've been competitive, but they haven't looked dangerous. You would think coming in with Bo Levi Mitchell, and now he's got Kenny Lawler, and he's got Tim White, and he's got these other weapons. They're getting yardage, but they're getting their yardage between the 20s. They're not putting up touchdowns properly. They have really no running game, so to speak. They had 51 yards total between two guys. Bo Levi Mitchell is throwing 336 yards. Great. 1 touchdown. They're not performing the way they should. Saskatchewan wasn't great in this game either. This wasn't like a dominating performance. Trevor Harris wasn't bad, 295. The big guy in this game was A.J. Willett with 96 yards and a touchdown, including a 47-yard scamper. I didn't think particularly either team was overbearing or really great in this game. I think basically it was a lesser of two evils, which was Saskatchewan again. And the Riders, you're right, they're not getting any better. I mean, we're starting to look a lot more. We talk about 2020, 22 Nathan Rourke and 2024 Nathan Rourke when we talk about the Lions. Well, this is a little bit more closer to pre-2024 Bo Levi Mitchell. He's not that bad. He's not throwing up a ton of interceptions like he has in the past. He threw 1. But the Ticats, they just don't look as dangerous as they should with the type of offense they have out there. I thought this was going to be a super explosive, high-scoring offense. So far through the first week, it hasn't been like that at all.
No. Big news in this game was Lauder missed 3 field goals and a convert. Left 10 points on the field. Was it 4? I thought it was 3-1, Rick.
That was the only reason that game was close.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
What does Will say? Why do we have fucking kickers?
You know what? There's no argument for my argument.
There isn't.
That's simple.
There isn't. I don't disagree with you, okay? Get rid of special teams completely. Sometimes they're exciting plays, but you know what? It's only one play.
It's just the name right off the bat. Special teams, okay?
Kind of like in a short bus kind of way.
I didn't say that, but you did.
Okay. So, Rick, you got anything to add? You're really big on Hamilton on this one. Come on, you picked him.
Yeah.
You picked him. I can see this.
2 weeks
Rick
in a row. All right.
Hamilton.
So, I'm pretty sure I didn't need a pedigree to join this cast, so we will just leave my picks where they are. There wasn't a test I had to pass to get on here, so.
No, there wasn't.
Wait, they didn't make you take one? Wait a second. What? Hold on. I'm just kidding.
Sorry, Charles.
Hey, Rick, they made me sign a 350-page document 10 years ago to be on the podcast. Yeah. Okay.
And Charles, I think you got a grandfather clause getting in here. Okay.
Times changed.
You've been here since
First
day
comes
one.
up, I just showed up. I'm here.
Yeah. No, it was everything you guys said in the game. It was just, yeah. Hamilton
Who are
was
the
never
four
their
original podcasters?
I don't know.
It was me, you, Kelly Bale, and Mike Townsend.
Bingo. There you go. Haven't heard from Mike in forever. Anyhow, Saskatchewan 28, Hamilton 23, 10 points on the field from kickers. Everybody picked Saskatchewan except Rick. So we all got 100 points except Rick.
Did you
Charles,
pick
really
Hamilton, Rick? You didn't pick Hamilton.
I did. I picked Hamilton.
Get out of here. Really?
He did. Yeah. You know, he's not going to pick Hamilton this week. Okay.
Maybe.
He's not going to guarantee it.
No, they're on a bye.
They're on a bye. Okay, so Charles was off by 1. He gets 40 points. Will gets 36. CJ gets 36. I went high. You went low. Rick got 40 points. He was only off by 1. Didn't get the 100 points, but he's off by 1 there. Sparky came in with 34. Again, look at this. This is amazing. The lowest score or the lowest bonus points here was 36 for Will and myself. There was 2 40s. Oh, sorry, 34 for Sparky. So 34, 2 36s, and 2 40s. Mm-hmm. We're nailing it this year. Nailing it. And we're going to do it again this week because, hey, I cannot see anybody picking wrong this week. There's not going to be any differential here.
You know,
okay,
but let's hopefully we'll get some real games soon. Because these ones are too easy.
Well, you know, like Calgary hasn't played. He's got what they get to play 3 Eastern teams. All the teams that are 0-2.
Yep.
And coming up, they get to play Ottawa. Okay,
but then they play Saskatchewan, Winnipeg, BC, Winnipeg, Saskatchewan. It's just crazy.
Well, and that's what BC's doing right now, back to back with Winnipeg, Montreal, and Saskatchewan. We had 4 shitty weeks in a row. I mean, we could be 1-4.
Could be.
Here's hoping.
Could be.
Okay.
Could be. Who knows? Okay, so this week, CJ was the big winner at 452 points. Will was 12 points back at 440. Charles at 426. Sparky at 418. And Rick down at 340. Okay, so the totals for so far this season, CJ's in the lead at 944 points. Will is only 4 points back at 940. Charles is an additional 6 points back at 934. Sparky's 100 back at 832 because he picked Hamilton the first week. And Rick, Well, he's like sucking the hind tit here at 7:32. Okay. So there's our standings. There's what's going on. And we're going to do our pick'ems for this week. Okay. Yeah, no, that's not, I don't need that. So the pick'ems for the Old Dutch pick'ems for CFL.ca has everybody picking Montreal, Saskatchewan, Calgary, and then there's some waffling in the BC Winnipeg game. So we're going to go right into the first game, which is Montreal. And Sparky, where are you? Oh, there you are. FanDuel has Montreal at 6.5 point favorites with an over/under of 48.5. CFL Pick'em has Montreal at 90%, Edmonton at 11. And the Sparky calculator, Sparky comes in at Montreal at 46. CJ's taken Montreal at 54. Yeah, no, there's just no hope here for Edmonton. I'm sorry. I like Edmonton. I wish they do well. Until they get a quarterback, they're not going to win too many football games. First one up here on this pick is Rick. You're going to pick Montreal or Edmonton?
Montreal 52.
Montreal 52. Willie?
Yeah, Edmonton's had a couple of weeks to work out their problems.
Yeah, they do.
I think they could beat Montreal handily.
Okay, and Mike Dennis believes that's a correct statement. So you tell us.
And I'm pretty much getting sick of Mike Dennis anyways.
Mike's doing a fun job. I'm having fun with him.
Mike's doing a wonderful job. It goes on and on and on and on and on. Anyways.
He does, but he's American.
Yeah, I know. Anyways, like I said, Montreal or maybe Edmonton worked out their problems. I'm not going to pick them. Let's go Montreal 53.
Oh, my God. We're getting close here. Charles, what are you going to do?
Well,
what's your separation move here?
Well, it ain't going to, sure as hell ain't going to be to pick Edmonton because I'm sorry, they're not beating Montreal. I'd be shocked if they beat Montreal. Trey Ford's, Trey Ford. I mean, there's not much I have to say more than that. Davis Alexander looks real, looks for real. Looks like last year was not an anomaly. He's been good the first two games. Hasn't had the greatest opponents. It doesn't matter. You play with the cards you're dealt. He's looked good. I think we saw Nathan Rourke throw for 340 something against this defense. I don't have any reason to believe that Davis Alexander isn't going to do at least the same, if not more. So, yeah, I'm sorry. This is gonna be I think a fairly easy. They always say no win is easy, but that's because they lie when they talk to the media sometimes. This is going to be a fairly easy Montreal win. I'm going to go Montreal 55 points.
We are all very close to each other. There's no separation. No separation here. Okay.
Yep.
Geez, I had a thought about this game and I can't remember what it was now. I'm getting old. That's a senior moment. Maybe I'll come back to it. I don't know. It just vaporized out of my mind. So the next game is the Saskatchewan Roughriders into Toronto. Oh, I know what it was. What is a very interesting stat for Davis Alexander right now? And Will, you'll like this stat. What's that?
Isn't he 7-0 as a starter?
He's undefeated as a starter.
Broke Bo Levi's record the other day, did he not? Or tied it?
Yeah. No, he broke it. And he's just going to break it again because he's going to beat Edmonton. Yeah. 7-0 as a starter, undefeated. There, I got my senior moment back. Okay, next game up is the Saskatchewan Roughriders going into Toronto to BMO Field again. Not Toronto's still at home because Calgary played at home in BMO Field too. Anyhow, 2 weeks in a row. Saskatchewan playing the Argonauts. The experts on CFL.ca all pick Saskatchewan. FanDuel has Saskatchewan by 3 points, over under a 48.5. The Pick'em has Saskatchewan at 87, Toronto at 13. Sparky is picking Saskatchewan at 49 points, and CJ has Saskatchewan at 54. I got 54. So there we go. Charles, you're going to start this one off. What are you going with here? You taking Saskatchewan Roughriders, or you going with the Toronto Argonauts with Nick Arbuckle starting?
I kind of have to go with Saskatchewan here, and I hate taking Saskatchewan, but if you got to look at it here with Saskatchewan, they're going into BMO Field. Toronto's still without Chad Kelly. They apparently lost 5 starters last week in the game against Calgary, including Winton McManus, their best defensive player. This is not going to be a pleasant day for the Argos. I don't think this is going to be a good day at all. I think that the weaknesses with the injuries is going to be something that Saskatchewan's going to be very easy to exploit. I don't see this as I don't think this is going to be particularly close. And I'm sorry, Nick Arbuckle, he was great in the one game in the Grey Cup last week or last year. Last week, not so great. So it was a flash in the pan, it looked like, or the week before. So I have to go forward. I got to take Saskatchewan, and I hate doing that because I hate Saskatchewan, but I got to take them. They're the better team. That defense that was already depleted by free agency, depleted even more with injuries. I'm going to go Saskatchewan, and I'm going to say it's 50 points for Saskatchewan.
5-0. Okay, yes. We got that down there. William.
Yeah, you know what? Up until I heard that Winton McManus got hurt, I was actually going to pick Toronto because the one thing that did impress me about Toronto was their defensive line. And I know Saskatchewan likes to run a lot, and I thought Toronto's defensive line would stop them, but not without Winton McManus. So saying that, I am going to go Saskatchewan, but I'm going to go 43.
Okay, low-scoring game. Rick, it's you.
Saskatchewan, 52.
Sure you don't want Hamilton,
Saskatchewan,
Rick?
52. Toronto's close to Hamilton.
I thought you'd take Hamilton last week.
So do you have anything to say about this, Rick?
Nope. Nothing's been said already. I got no faith in Toronto winning many games this year. Period.
Oh, we'll go back to Reggie Bagleton for a second. You said that he broke his leg.
Yep.
A long time ago, I had a horse break his leg.
Yes.
And the surgeon that repaired it.
Yes.
And we were talking to him about it, and he said, the injury is a catastrophic soft tissue injury with a broken bone. Yep. We can heal the bone.
Yeah.
It's how much soft tissue damage went with the break.
Correct.
And that is where the long-term effects come into the play.
Correct. Mm-hmm. That's what happened to Nick Lewis. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that's why he ended up going to Montreal eventually, because he did not recover fast enough in Calgary.
Yeah.
And that's what he actually said that on our show, I think.
Yeah. So we have the next game up is the Ottawa Red Blacks, and they're going into Calgary to play the Stampeders. The CFL panel has picked Calgary straight across the board. FanDuel has picked Ottawa, a 1.5-point favorite, and a over-under of 51.5. CFL Pick'em disagrees with FanDuel and has Calgary at 90% and Ottawa a measly 10. Sparky's calculator takes Calgary at 56 points. CJ is taking Calgary at 54. There's not a fucking hope in hell the Red Blacks are going to beat the Stampede. And I don't think Calgary is that good of a team this year. Ottawa's just that bad of a team. Okay. Our CFL is usually divided into 3 groups of 3 teams. Okay. Winnipeg, Montreal, and I'm going to throw Saskatchewan in there right now are the top 3. Calgary, BC, and that's that. They're in the middle. And then we got Toronto, Ottawa, Hamilton, and Edmonton in the bottom. So Calgary's in the middle. They're a better team than Ottawa. They're a better team than the bottom 4. No doubt about it. I'd love to see Calgary and BC play right now. At least that would be a fair fight. This is not going to be a fair fight, in my opinion. Calgary's going to do it. William, you pick in your team. How many points?
You know what? I
Are you taking Ottawa?
Yeah, no, I'm not taking Ottawa. I wouldn't take Ottawa because who is Ottawa's quarterback this week?
It's going to be Dustin Crum.
The guy that couldn't get a touchdown with 2 tries from the 1.
2 tries from the 1 yard line. He can't run a short offense. I remember that. But
no one said it was a good option.
I blame the coach.
Drew Brown is injured. Matthew Schlitz has been benched, and Dustin Crum, the 3rd stringer, is going to start.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're taking Ottawa. Good stuff. I'll put it down.
Well, what I'm concerned about is the great big bunch of rain, and I'm going to say to Calgary fans, please come to the football game. It's family day on Saturday at 2:00. Come to the football game. Bring your kids. Anyways, I'm going to go with Calgary, and let's say 48.
I thought you were going to say 84.
No.
So 48.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Charles.
Well, honestly, I think I'll pick Ottawa. Sorry, I couldn't even get through that. Come on, give me a break. Calgary's going to beat Ottawa. Ottawa's a terrible football team. They're bad with Drew Brown. What are they going to do? They were bad with what's his face, Matt Schlitz. You really think they're going to be any better with Dustin Crum? Like
I think Dustin Crum's the better of the 3 quarterbacks.
Well, but like Rick said, he 2 chances from the 1 yard line, can't get it. But
they can't be worse.
I don't know. This team isn't very good. I like Bob Dice as a person. I don't think he's a great head coach. I never have thought he was a great head coach. And Calgary, they've been good the first 2 weeks. They haven't been blown out of the water good, but they've been good enough to win their first 2 games. They beat Hamilton. They beat Toronto. Hamilton and Toronto are both better teams than Ottawa. Calgary's going to beat Ottawa too. Vernon Adams is going pretty good. Doesn't have a touchdown pass yet, which kind of surprises me. But he's been moving the ball. He's been getting a lot of yards. Calgary's going to win this game. I'll say Calgary 47 points.
47 points. Rick, your last man up.
Calgary 52. For all the reasons Charles said.
You picked 52 in each one of these games. You know that, right? Are you doing that on purpose?
Yep.
Okay, good. Okay. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. Are you going to pick 52 in every game this year?
He can't pick 52 for that game.
No, I got to stutter.
Sparky picked 52.
No, Sparky got 56.
Oh, I'm looking at what the heck is the Sparky calculator then?
The Sparky calculator has Winnipeg at 52.
That's right.
We're not talking Winnipeg right now. We're talking Calgary, Ottawa, which is 56.
Sorry.
But thanks for the warning for the Winnipeg game.
Yeah, you can't pick 52 for Winnipeg, Rick. Unless you pick BC.
Shit, eh?
I might surprise you.
Yeah, I don't think
so. We could. I could let Rick do 52 as well. You know what the hell? What's a push?
No, we've never done that. We've never let anybody pick the same score. Screw that bullshit.
I know,
I
Okay.
agree with Willie.
but your brother's special. Remember, we defined
no,
special already.
I'm going to guarantee.
He knows what the short bus is, so
I'm going to guarantee the win on the next one because I'm going to pick BC.
Don't you
God.
dare.
I'm not saying
Don't
Willie
you
was
dare.
a window
I'm
licker
not
on the short
accepting
bus,
a
but
BC pick from you, Will. Okay. So the last game has the BC Lions. No, Winnipeg coming to BC to
BC.
play the Lions. Charles, you're going to the game?
Yes,
Okay, good. Do you have season tickets this year?
I do. But I'm really mad because when I bought my season tickets, I bought them because they could sit in Club Orange, and then they shut that down. So I got to go back to the regular seats, which not thrilled about it.
That's
But
antisocial. I don't like that.
I might be going to the game.
Wow.
I haven't heard yet. I applied for a media pass for this week's game, and I haven't heard back yet.
Oh, that would be interesting. Okay, so
we might see you on the sidelines, is what you're saying.
Bet you in my CFL vest.
You better put some like powder or something on your head so that the lights don't glare.
I'll wear a hat.
Okay. Okay. So Jamie Nye, Matthew Cause, and Christina Constable took the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Pat Steinberg and Vicky Hall picked the BC Lions.
Why?
I don't know.
Have they been
you
listening
have
to
to ask
you?
them.
Have they been listening to you, Christopher? Is that what it is?
I honestly believe that BC has the best chance of an upset out of all 4 games, but there's not a fucking hope.
Well, that's not saying anything, Christopher.
No, it's not.
If there
Not
was
at
to be an
all.
upset, though, that would be the one.
Yes.
If there was going to be an upset, it's going to be the BC Winnipeg game. But I'm not betting on that. Okay. So CFL Pick'em has, where are we? Okay. FanDuel has Winnipeg at 2.5 points with an over-under of 50.5. CFL Pick'em has Winnipeg at 66, BC at 34. It's not a blowout there.
I thought it'd be higher than that.
Has Winnipeg at 52. Okay. Charles, you're first up. What are you doing?
Well, first of all, if I'm at the game and I see Rick on the sidelines, I'm heckling him. That's the first thing I'm doing.
Just don't say
and I
You're
think-
going to throw eggs, Charles? I will send
see. They
you. I
don't,
will
they don't
send
let
you
you
a
bring it
dozen
through the
eggs
door.
tomorrow.
They don't let you bring eggs. They barely let you bring bottled water in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, well, guess what? I'm a homer, so I'm going to pick the BC Lions with the smallest of confidence. I mean, we don't know yet. We don't know. They haven't announced it. We might be starting Jeremiah Mazzoli on Saturday. God help us. I'll be able to leave at halftime.
What's the other guy? What's the other quarterback? What's his name?
Chase Bryce.
Okay, because
He's
Mazzoli
not a quarterback.
will be out in the
I'm
first
not sure what
quarter.
the fuck he is, but he's not a quarterback.
Mazzoli will be out in the first quarter, so you should see Bryce a lot.
If Bryce comes in, we'll be lucky to get a yard from the last time he played.
Nathan
so
Rourke is not practicing right now.
he did practice limited yesterday. Today he did not. So they say it's a game time decision. I'm leaning towards the fact that he's not going to play this week. I could be wrong. I don't have any inside information. They hang up on me when I call to ask, but so I have no inside information. I have a feeling he's not going to play.
Why would you play him?
Pardon? Even if he's cleared?
Why would anybody play him? There's not much hope that BC's going to beat Winnipeg. So why would you jeopardize your star quarterback in a game that you're going to get him beat up in? It doesn't make sense.
Fair enough. I don't think he's going to play, period. So, but I'm going to do my homer pick because, well, I'm a homer. I'll pick BC 41 points. Maybe their defense will show up. But I will say this, if they can't stop the run, they don't have a prayer, and they haven't shown the ability to stop the run yet.
No. Not in the last decade.
No. Has there been a worse team against the run in recent memory then the Lions, year after year, different coaches, different everything, they still can't stop the run. I thought it'd be better this year with Benavides, and it hasn't been.
No. Rick, what are you going to do here?
Winnipeg 53.
Oh, you homer.
I will never, ever pick somebody to beat them again. I've learned my lesson.
Okay. William, what are you going to do?
That's why you didn't win any money at the Grey Cup, Rick. Anyways, I am going to pick Winterpeg, and I will go with 50 points.
Okay. And CJ's going to come in with a typical homer pick and go with Winnipeg at 54 points. No, it's not a homer pick. Okay. I'm going with Winnipeg. I have zero faith in the BC Lions right now. And if I pick Winnipeg and BC wins and Charles gets 100 points and I don't, I'm perfectly fucking okay with that because the Lions won.
It could still be a Homer
and they've got
Simpson
2 points.
pick.
But he's not okay
the
with...
The Lions' 2 points are far more important than my 100, okay?
But he's not okay with Willie getting 100 points when he gets 0 points, okay? He's not okay with that. He's okay with Charles, but not with Willie. So that's why he picked Winnipeg.
Well, there you go. I
guarantee it.
And I Winnipeg because I think they're going to win.
So I'm basically out there now.
Charles, what's going on here?
I don't know. Everything just stopped for a second.
All of your faces disappeared.
It did, but you guys came back. So I'm for once out there in the BC boat by myself. So I'm either going to look like an idiot or BC will win and I'll look like slightly less of an idiot. So we'll see what happens on Saturday night.
Who is the pregame? Who is the pregame show?
I don't know.
Millie Vanilli?
Tiny Tim.
They're calling it their summer camp, whatever that means. They're selling like $5 hot dogs and $5 beers.
Oh, cool.
Plaza and stuff like that. So
that's
I don't know what else they're doing.
Charles is doing the Rick impersonation this week.
Which means what?
Odd man out on a loser.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that's our scores. That's our picks for the week. I'm going to put them away. Hopefully Sparky got them all, but I do have a backup copy if he can't figure this out from the podcast. But he has the ability to replay it and find out what happened. So that's everything that happened there from our picks. Cool. Let's go over to the agenda and see what Charles gave us to do. BC Winnipeg. We've done that. Toronto Argonauts have drawn the largest home opener crowd since 2016. And people are still bitching about the Argos attendance. I don't get it. They're doing the best they can.
It's going up.
It's going up.
Drastically up, but it's going up.
For an 0-2 team, how do how can you argue with that? Let's see what happens when the Calgary comes to town this week and see if they can keep that up. I don't know.
Calgary was in Toronto last week.
Calgary's not coming to town. They're in Calgary.
Oh, Calgary's going to Ottawa. That's right.
Saskatchewan's in Toronto.
Saskatchewan's in Toronto. Well, Saskatchewan's always the biggest draw, aren't they?
Yeah, which likely means they're probably going to be higher this week than they were last week.
Yeah, that's because there's Rough Rider morons everywhere.
Yes, there is.
There are. There's just not enough of them in Kandahar. Okay, so we've talked attendance. I'm not going to go any further on that one because we can go around and around and around and around and around.
Yep, it's just a number.
Yeah, Stamps placed Reggie Bingleton on the 6-game injury list and add 2 to the practice roster. It's too bad they can't add 42 to the practice roster because they may end up beating them.
The one guy they added to the practice roster was in camp. He's a long snapper, so he will definitely play. Okay.
Yeah.
The other guy is
he's going to step up.
That's excitement.
So we'll see.
Well, if you're going to kick, you need a long snapper.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, it's kind of like they go hand in hand. Okay, so we have 7 people have been called to the hall. Okay, these are the inductees to the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. This is not the CFL Hall of Fame. This is Canadian football. It could be college, it could be high school, it could be anything. Could be the CFL. And
Could be
they
Americans
are
that play in the CFL or the
And
NFL.
it's,
I mean,
and it's Ricky's
Canadians
favorite
that play
city.
in the NFL.
Ricky's favorite city. That's where the hall is.
in
Hamilton.
Hamilton.
Hamilton, yeah.
Okay. So we got Jermaine Copeland, Calgary Stampeder,
Toronto Argonaut.
Toronto Argonaut as well.
Montreal Alouettes.
Montreal Alouettes. Sorry, what am I talking about? Brian
Yeah.
Chu. Now, Brian Chu, he was Montreal Alouette. Then he went to retired and became the O-line coach in BC and was god awful terrible at it.
And he lasted
Was
5
that
games, wasn't it?
was that not under Devon Claybrooks?
Yes.
And
yes.
that was the year that they kept
He got
destroying Mike
fired,
Riley?
and then they brought Kelly Bates in.
Yes.
It was a big
absolutely
improvement,
fucking
too.
awful.
Yes, he was.
Damn near killed Mike Riley.
Yeah, and the difference was when Kelly Bates came in, he only got sacked 4 times a game as opposed to 6 times a game.
Oh, I think he got sacked more than 6 times in a game.
I'm being nice,
It was
Christopher.
terrible.
Yes, it was.
Jovan Olia. Nah, I never good at it.
Olafoye.
Olafoye. BC Lion guy. We got another Stampeder, Daryl Hall. And
No
this guy
induction
got
yet for
called to the
John
hall.
Oates.
I don't know who this is. I don't know that recognize Scott
Winnipeg,
Flegel.
Winnipeg boy. Scott Flegel.
Winnipeg boy.
Played for the Bombers his whole
Played
career.
in
Flegel.
1980s.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we got an official, Glenn Johnson. And then we've got a college coach, I think it is, isn't it? Frank McChrystal.
No, junior football coach.
Junior
Former
football.
coach of the Regina Rams.
Ah, okay. He's not wearing CFL garb, so I knew he wasn't there. Okay, so that's the 7 players, 7 people that are getting into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. Good for them.
Yeah.
It's nice to recognize people like that.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, I have to sit down and write that letter because nowhere in this selection, and you think about all these guys, nowhere in this collection do you see Kevin Glenn.
Or Marcus Crandall.
he needs
Which
to be
is a
in
shame.
there.
Which is a shame. So,
I mean, no offense to him, but if they're putting Scott Flegel in the Hall of Fame,
he was a
Kevin
good
Glenn
football
should be in
player,
the Hall
Charles.
of
You
Fame.
were.
Oh no, I
you
remember
were-
the name from
you
when
were
I was
probably
growing up.
6. You were probably 6.
Yeah.
Put a
Well,
fucking official
he
in.
started his career in 1982. I was 4.
Oh, okay. I was 20.
But he did have a long career though. He played from 82 to 91. So
Yep. And he did win a Grey Cup.
yes, he did.
Okay, next article up, we have Brett Lawther. Hey, this is a football kicker.
This was specifically for Will.
Yeah. And he apologizes to the Saskatchewan Roughriders teammates, coaches, and fans.
Can I ask
After
a
his-
question? Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Did he give his game check back?
Probably not.
Well, then shut up.
Shouldn't he have manure or something dumped on his front yard?
Isn't that what
That's
Saskatchewan
only
does?
for good kickers like Paul
If it was
McCallum.
the Western final, it probably would have happened. But it was a mean-nothing game. All
And
games mean
the
something.
team
They're all
still
worth 2
won.
points. But it was not a do or die on the season.
No.
So,
So
No.
I guess I can compare kickers to weathermen. No matter how wrong they are, they never get fired.
Well,
No.
yeah.
kickers
What?
get fired.
Yes.
Not very often.
And I'll tell you what, Sean White is a lot better kicker than most people are weathermen.
Winnipeg fires them a lot more than other teams.
Still not often enough.
I 100% agree.
You got Castillo over there now, don't you?
Yeah.
I don't know why he's still got a job, but
That's that Japanese kicker the Lions had a few
because he
years ago.
kicked 60-yard field goals. That's why he's still got a job.
These Aussies are doing really well. I'm really kind of impressed with that, especially on the punting. But they're still kickers.
Truth.
Okay, that's the end of the agenda, gentlemen. What else would you like to talk about? If you're all quiet, we're going to go to away.
Go to who?
We're going to go away.
Well, it has been over an hour.
It has been over an hour. We've done our hour. We've actually done almost an hour and a half.
Can you explain to me what this thing is that Sparky is talking about?
I was going to ask about that.
Okay, so what it is that when we put in our CFL pick'ems, okay, when he goes to put them into the chart into the computer for the league, you have to pick the winning team, which we do. You have to pick the total point score, which we do. And you also have to pick the point differential, which we don't do.
Of the last game, isn't it?
Is it just the last game?
I thought that's what he said.
He may have said that, because I think I remember that.
Let's see. There's a lot. He's been putting a lot of stuff in here, and I try to ignore most of it. So,
well, he used the Winnipeg BC game as an example, and that was the first game. Okay, so if it says if you want to pick the margin of victory of the last game of the week yourselves, go for it. So it is just, I guess it is just the last game.
Yeah, margin of victory for the last game of the week. You know what?
So,
I think he's done a fine job. Let's just leave him pick it.
Yeah, I don't want to do it.
No, I don't either.
Nope.
I'd have to be more accurate than a kicker.
Mm-hmm.
Sparky has stepped up and done this for us, so I'm going to accept him to do what he does.
Big time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it is what it is. We're doing pretty good on our own. And we'll see what happens, because I personally, I think I'm going to get 4 for 4 this week. I mean,
if you don't, you'll be happy.
If I didn't do the homer pick with BC, no, I had to do the BC pick. I honestly thought BC was going to beat Winnipeg. I honestly, for sure, thought BC was going to win last week. Okay.
So did I.
And they didn't. I'm not going to make that mistake twice. I'm not going to do Rick and pick Hamilton 2 weeks in a row. Okay.
Damn
next
shame
week you're going to be able to pick Hamilton again, Rick.
Sweet.
They're going to play next week, okay?
As long as they're not playing Winnipeg, it's a lock.
Okay, just a sec.
Maybe go ahead.
Well, I want to go next week. It's Edmonton is in Winnipeg, Montreal's in Hamilton, BC's in Saskatchewan, and Toronto is in Ottawa.
Those will be hard
Montreal's
games.
in Hamilton. So you can pick Hamilton over Montreal, no problems. It should be a good game for you.
Oh, I'm curious about this, and maybe we can ask Rick this question. What did you see in the first Hamilton game that would make you pick them a second time in the second Hamilton game?
Yeah.
Can you please explain?
Just had a feeling. I had a feeling about them. It might have been gas. I don't know.
I did too, but it wasn't good.
Cream for that.
I was taking a gamble to try and jump ahead in the point situation, see, because nobody else picked them.
I've been doing that for years. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Don't do that at the beginning.
Well, I need to learn by my own mistakes, Lil Willie.
Okay.
Yeah, you had a feeling, eh? And I think there's a topical cream for that feeling.
Yeah. So in this whole thing, what's the prize for winning?
Zippity.
There isn't one.
That's what I figured. So I'm all right with my picks.
Well, that's exactly what I think too. Okay, so there's no
if the prize for winning isn't life changing, well, we might do some interesting things here.
At one time, we were told that Willie built a trophy, okay, and that he was going to courier it out to the winner.
Yeah,
and that never happened.
Never saw it.
I guess we could do that again.
You going to build a trophy?
Yeah, I could probably build it. I've got nothing but time on my hands these days.
Be careful. Don't lose a finger.
Maybe maybe I shouldn't dedicate it to kickers too.
I'm a little scared what he'd build it out of.
Get a big trophy with a place kicker on it, and that could be our trophy.
Yeah, okay.
No?
Well, only if you let me send one to Paul McCallum too.
Well, you can do that. Just as long as somewhere in there you have to say something about getting rid of the ratio.
Yeah, okay.
He has a problem. That'll set him off.
Oh, does he have a problem with that?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, huge. Well, he's I don't know if he still is, but he's been a rep of the CFL PA forever and ever, and he's a Canadian, and he's a kicker. So that's strike three.
Yeah. Oh well.
Okay. So if that's it, we're going to go away. Are you guys okay with that, or you want something else to discuss?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Have we looked at everything on the thing? Oh, what did you think of the? Hang on. Before we go away, the top three quarterbacks this week. What were they? Trevor Harris,
Chris
Streveler, and
Nathan Rourke. Little surprised that Brendan Adams wasn't there.
Brendan Adams played two shitty games. Okay, how many touchdowns does he have?
He doesn't have any. That's the one strike against him, but he was moving the ball. He put up points.
Yeah, I understand. But there's also, 3 or 4 teams in the league right now that are 2-0?
True.
So it's not special. What he's done isn't special.
Mm-hmm.
Well, none of them have done anything special yet. But
hey, I do have a question to ask Christopher.
Yes.
How disappointed was your grandson yesterday?
Oh, fuck. Don't go there.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Oh, fuck. Don't go there.
Well, they don't listen to the show, so...
He was crying.
Well, he's not very old. How old is he?
10.
Well, it's a big thing when you're a 10-year-old.
I'm missing something, but
no, he's an Oiler fan.
Florida Panthers won the Stanley Cup over the Edmonton Oilers, and he's a huge Oiler fan.
Well, the Abbotsford Canucks are cruising in on a Calder Cup win.
Hey there, I was at their game last night.
What game?
That's what we were talking about, wasn't it, Will?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Calder Cup game.
No, we weren't talking about the Calder Cup game. We were talking about the Stanley Cup.
I know. But Charles just said he was at the Calder Cup game last night.
There's a couple of good articles out there that we're gonna have to read. One of them is the Dave Naylor put out a CFL rules incomprehensible to the average fan need to be changed. I don't know what that article is. I haven't read it, so we're not going to deal with it tonight, but maybe we should take that up and bring it forward, Charles.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that rule? The rule, hang on. It happened twice in the same game last week.
I know,
and I didn't even know it existed. That if a ball thrown by a quarterback's trajectory is changed, they cannot have a PI call.
Yep, that's correct. Because it's when the ball If the ball is deflected, it's not supposed to be a pass interference.
So you're allowed to drill the receiver even if the ball is catchable.
Apparently.
That doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't, but
And let's just say, hypothetically say, that the ball isn't catchable. Would that not still be contacting a receiver?
illegal contact? It could be.
Yeah, maybe. It would be. Yeah, I heard those two calls and I just sat there and shook my head because it was like, really? But they used it twice.
You can't contact a receiver before the ball shows. That's pass interference. If you contact a receiver who the ball's not going to, that's contacting a receiver.
Correct.
Right? That should still have been a penalty. It shouldn't have been an in-goal foul, 1st and 1 at the 1. 1st and goal at the 1. It should have been a 10-yard penalty.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
And don't they have a new rule this year? Isn't it there's intentional pass interference and then there's pass interference or something like that?
Not intentional,
Unintentional. And that's not new.
Is that not
they've
new?
had that they've had that for years.
Have they?
That's when two players are running together and their feet tangle up and they both go down or something like that. And so the defender did take out the offensive player, but it wasn't like intentional. So it's not a spot
It's
of
not point of foul, it's a 10-yard penalty.
It's a 10-yard penalty. Or whichever is less.
Yep.
Okay. And Farhan Louji, who I actually respect as a reporter most of the time, but every once in a while he comes out with something that's just fucking stupid. And it's kind of weird that he does that, but he does. And then the headline is TSN's Farhan Louji explains why he will call the Winnipeg Blue Bombers a dynasty despite only winning 2 of the last 5 Grey Cups. And then it goes on. And I didn't go look at the article or watch the video because
do we even want to hear?
I'm just not going to listen to that shit. It's dribble.
Explanation. A loser's a loser's a loser. Okay.
Exactly. I don't care whether you didn't make the playoffs or you lost the Grey Cup. You didn't win.
The Buffalo Bills, the greatest team ever to win the Super Bowl?
No.
4 times in a row?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Wow.
Chris Schultz and Nick Volpe were added to the Argos all-time team list. I miss Chris Schultz. He was really good. What are you going to think of this?
He was one of the best guys.
100%. Chris Schultz, Davis Sanchez. Who else was on there in the beginning that was just really good? And it's all gone for shit. Now Davis Sanchez is back. What do you think of the new panel with Enoch Mwamba?
No, we got Enoch Mwamba.
Who told Davis Sanchez he could wear a hoodie with his suit jacket? Like, how does that get on TV? Come on.
You wear capris.
I wouldn't wear capris on TV.
Is there no production people saying, hey, this really doesn't work?
Yeah, like he looks like some kind of want to be gangster. Come on, really?
Hey, look at me.
OG.
I really do like the sideline guy right now. That we've never heard of. The Canadian guy.
I don't even know his name.
Played in the NFL. He's
Luke Wilson.
Yes, he seems to be very.
This is the Luke Wilson.
Yes,
I'm looking at him right now.
Yeah,
he looks like a throwback to the mid-1980s.
True that. Someone's got to groom him, but other than that, hey, I think he's got good explanations and he knows what he's talking about.
He hasn't said anything flattering about the CFL.
No.
In fact, most things are very derogatory.
But they're not necessarily wrong.
No. I am enjoying Paul LaPolice's explanation of things. I think he gives more of an explanation than anybody else has.
Yeah, but he's always been good at that. He was the one that
Mhm.
always did the big board in the background, right?
Yeah.
When he wasn't on the panel. Coach's Corner or something. No, that was Don
Yeah,
Cherry.
that was Don Cherry.
It was Don Cherry.
But it was and then they started bringing Jim Barker in and calling him the coach.
Yeah,
Hasn't been on very much lately.
good.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yes,
I
I know.
think they fired everybody, didn't they? Milt Stegall, Matt Dunnigan, Jim Barker.
Well, Mel Stegall hasn't been fired. He's still on, but he's just because his son passed away. He's taken some time off, but I don't believe he's been fired.
Okay. Because he hasn't been there since the beginning.
That's right.
But his son died just before the beginning, so.
That's right.
Right, but I mean, he wasn't there in any of the preseason either.
No. Oh, wasn't he? Okay. Maybe TSN won't fly him in from wherever he lives for preseason.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I don't know. I'm just not a fan of Enoch Mwamba.
I'm not crazy about him either.
I'm just not. And he's wrecked the waggle.
Okay.
And you're the one that says that more than anybody because you actually watch it.
Well, no, listen to it, but I don't listen to it anymore.
Oh, okay.
So, but no, Enoch Mwamba, there's something, the way he does it, I just don't like it. And this week, if Davis Sanchez's hood is on his head, I'm not watching TSN ever again. So,
well, I pretty much think that he won't be wearing a hoodie with his suit jacket on again.
well,
I
is
think
he
there's probably
is he
that's
cold or
some kind of
something?
faux pas that's
Is he
going to
cold
be
or
corrected.
something? Yeah, okay.
Come on, Justin Bieber does that. Why shouldn't he?
It looked like he was changing really quickly right before the show started, and he forgot to take it off.
Yeah, I
Maybe. Rick,
Yes.
look
Yes?
at the screen.
Yes.
Okay, you're not doing it right now. Bring your hands up a little bit. There. You got to keep your hands down. They're monstrous. They look like they come off of the Green Giant or something.
They are.
Okay? They're
You know
too
what they
close to the
say about
camera.
guys with big hands, eh?
Well, we all got big hands. They're not hands, they're paws. But when they're here,
Yeah, well,
they're big.
you can have a big hand when it's right there. Look at how big my fingers are. Holy shit, man.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, look how big
But
mine
Rick's
is.
been doing that all show.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
you can
Because
do that one too.
My head is heavy and I need to rest it.
Okay.
Anyway, we've done enough.
I'm killing the show now.
Okay, sounds good, buddy.
Okay, then.
Okay, this has
Say
been
goodnight,
Let's Talk
everybody.
CFL podcast episode number 609. I've been your host, Christopher Jones. I want to thank you all for showing up. Watch football this week. It's going to be exciting. It's very predictable. Let's hope that it's predictable. Otherwise, weird things are going to happen. Say goodnight, Rick.
Good night. Thanks for watching. Listening.
Watching,
Watching.
depending on which platform you're on. Charles.
Good night, folks. Thanks for watching. Yes, I'm the one that picked the Lions against the Bombers, so, you can laugh at me next Wednesday.
Won't laugh at you, Charles. We expect that. You're a
Okay, fair
homer.
enough.
That's okay. We don't know why Rick picked Hamilton. He's not a homer for Hamilton. It makes no sense. It's illogical. William, say goodnight.
Hey, everybody, come out to McMahon Stadium this weekend and watch the Vag win his third game of the season
Yeah, in BC weather.
in BC weather.
Mhm.
BC weather.
So wet.
It's soggy. Good night, everybody.